be our initial flow, and here we have used a screen flow and not a record trigger flow, because this is the first flow we will be creating, and this is just for having concepts of logic elements. And for first we have given it the name test flow 1, and then after creating this flow, the like screen flows do not run by automatically. They need some clicks or user inputs or something like that from a user to start the flow, because it is not the record triggered flows that will start automatically. So we need to start this by using some button or links, and there is a thing we have named it, and then here we have explained how to use logic elements, and that are will be here. Okay, this just converted will be converted into free form and will show the elements. So there are these elements. Will take the first three main elements. There are two other elements that are collection sort and collection filter. So sorting will be the thing that will be needed in sorting of the collection. If we have some collection of records, we can sort them by our own conditions. Like for example, if we can apply some condition like for created date, like by when it was created, we want to sort it by then in ascending or descending ways. Or collection filter, we have a collection, we want to filterize some records, we can use this logic element. So we will not be using this for as much more. So there are these three very important logic elements, so we will be working on this for our initial flow. So in this we have done this. Let me convert this again to our auto layout, and here what we have done is we actually build a screen flow. We named it test flow 1, and then we just used the get records element. Here we named it something, and here we have put some conditions. These are just some conditions I have put it there just to show how these all things works. We can put the conditions here, like the records should not be deleted and they are all lead records, and the created date was something like very way before, so all the records can be included in this collection. And so it will, when we just use the get records element, it creates its own collection. That is the very important concept here. It creates its own collection, and we don't need to create another collection. So by using this collection we can do anything we want, and here we have not sorted this, we don't need that. We just need all the records. We have clicked this option all records, not the only one record, because we need a collection of records. We want all the leads records that are fulfilling this condition. And then of course we are just automatically storing all the fields. We want all the fields and not the fields that are just you will be handling the Salesforce. We don't want that. We have the option here, choose fields and assign variables, and we are not using this option. We will use this when later we will be working on the screen flows, and that will be, we will be having some values from users, and then we will select some fields, and the values that we will be having from the user we will fill in by using this option. So now we are using this option automatically store all fields. That is because we have the collection and we want all the fields and all the records fulfilling these conditions. And then now we have a record, and as I have said earlier, that this will create its own collection, and that has named, that is already named here, leads from get all lead records, and that is already under available record collection variable. So this is collection made by the Salesforce itself. Now we have a collection of records, and then we want to iterate every record that is available in this collection. Okay, I'll show you. So we have this collection, we just named it iterate lead collection, and just first item, last item, last item to first item. There are two options how to iterate over these records, and this doesn't matter how we just select this. Okay, so we have a collection, we want to iterate over this, and we will applying some changes to them. We take one record each time, and whatever we want we will just do that, and then at the end we take the results. Okay, so there is one important thing that has been just stated here is like we have a collection, and when we will be working on each record, we can just point out each record by current item from loop, my account loop, or something like this. We have a lead collection, so there will be an option current item from lead loop over collection name. So we can select each record at a time by using current item of the collection, and this is the for loop, and then done. So furthermore, we have created a decision element we are using here, and in here we have three just paths here that we have created, and there is the first path is rating is warm, we named it, and we just we will take this and conditions fulfilling all the conditions, and not just one condition here, and not the custom logic is meeting. We will applying all the conditions that we will be having here. So we name the first path as rating is warm. Okay, fine. So from the collection, we take this. For example, I will let you know that. For example, we have a collection. We will take one just record that is like, for example, we will be having a record collection variables. We have this collection, and each record of the collection, we have an option here that is just automatically created by Salesforce. We can we pick one record that is from the current item. We check that this current record rating is equals to warm. If the current record item rating equals to warm, and current item from loop lead source that is I have just applied here is purchase list, then just with this the flow overflow will just go toward this path. And the second path is rating is called. If the record is having the rating is called, then choose this path, and the default outcome will be rating is hot. So we have the three paths created. That is, the first is if the record has rating is called, then just follow this path. Rating is hot, follow this path. If rating is warm, we want to set the record rating to hot. Set rating of warm leads to hot. This is the assignment element. By using this, we can assign the values to variables, and most importantly, this assignment is used. We have a collection, and we can add single variables to the collection. So there are two uses I have discussed here. We can just assign the values to the variables, and we can add single variables to the collection. So what we have done here is I'll show you. We have using the assignment operator, we just picking up the current item from the loop that had been rating having warm leads, and all those records that had the rating warms we have a list of them here, and we will pick the current item and just assign the value to hot, and then done. Okay, fine. So we have all the records. They will go to the iteration part, and the records that have having the warm rating will go here, and they will be assigned the value to hot, and they will go again here. And this was for the first record, and the second we'll find the second record, and we'll do this thing, and we'll find the third record. If fulfilling the conditions, then do this thing. Once all the things are all the records are will be having the values set up, the collection will be just take off its route to the end of this loop, and will move out of this loop successfully. So we could be just updating the over collection here rather than here, because we have just used this update element here. The reason is very conceptual, and that should be notified because we have some governor limits, and for SOCL, for DML, for social, I am explaining SOCL and DML governor limits. So for SOCL, that is used for Salesforce object query language to retrieve the records here. That has a limit of 50,000 records, and for one transaction, it has the limit of 100 SOCL queries. So if the record just take up to like more than 100 statements. Like for example, here we will be having one record and we just put the circle query here. It will use one transaction of circle query, and but for 100 records it will be working fine, but after it will reach the 101 record, it will throw just some errors because circle limitation will be over. And I have explained that for one transaction circle limitation is 100, and moreover, it has the retrieve limitation of 50,000 records, and for each transaction, DML has 150 um, statements limitations, and it can insert, update, upsert, delete, or undelete the 10,000 records per transaction. And because they have some limitations. So the reason was because we could be having more than 150 records, and we need to update them all at once. For 150 records it will be working fine, but after all it will be reaching 100 and 151 records, it will just roll back all the transactions, all the things, and all hard work to roll back state. So we are using this update element after. So the reason using this after the loop is it will be using only one statement, and in one statement it will updating all the things that we have discussed and all the things that we have applied here just in one single DML statement, DML event. We are using the update DML event, and it will update all the assignments that we have applied to all the rating records that were born and that were just fulfilling all the conditions. And here we have just ended up over statements here, and I think that I've explained it very well. So in update elements there will be two options. Let me just explain this, and I am just finishing this topic here, and how to find records to update and set their value. So update records element will be, I will be asking for the records that needs to be updated. So it is just asking for the two options here, like uh, how to find records. I have just selected use the IDs and all field values from record collection. We will be using the record collection here that has been has passed through the whole process that has been defined in the flow. So we will be using the collection and note the specified conditions to identify records and set fields individually, and we will not be applying some conditions to get the records and update them. We just are using the record collection, and the record collection that was automatically created from getting records or released from get all lead records, and we are using this and then done. So this flow has been completed, and we can use this by just using the link here. Okay, so let me save this, and the thing that will be very importantly to discuss here is I have saved the flow. That flow is not actually appeared yet here. We need to refresh the screen, and okay, it can just take a moment, I think. So that flow name was test flow 1. Let me just see in all the flow list. We have a list view of all the flows, and so a very important thing that needs to be said, we can apply filters here. So there are not a many number of flows, and that this to just find a very single flow, we will not be having this filter to just find that one single flow, because there are no huge lists of flows here. We can just find by just domain and back by just using back and forth or arrow. So this is there the test flow one, and the most important thing is view details and variant access add details. This will not be, these options we will not be having in the already created, already managed installed flows, or they are already created in the, or for example, let me click here, we are not having some options. The flow that we have created, we can manage the access, we can edit the details, and we can add the details and variants. Let me click here. Okay, so from here we can have the link of the flow, and we can have the link of the flow, we can manage the variants, we can manage all variants, we can remove the activated variant to the previous variant or the latest variant that we'll be using. Okay, so this flow has been built, and this has only one uh, variant and has not been activated yet. Okay, and there is a thing that this is the URL of this flow. We can use this in the button to just use this anywhere on object specific actions and global actions. We can use this anywhere. So that was the very important thing. We can have the URL here, we can have the variables here that can be just set up accordingly. Okay, so we will be back to the list. Okay, and we will just are not activating this. There are some further things that will need to be added into it, and we are not ending this video, and we'll meet in another video of flows soon.